Welcome back, witchlings, to Hex and Chill, your favorite place for magic, mystery, and maybe a haunted doll or two.
Or three, because today we are not playing around, guys. We are diving into the eerie world of haunted dolls. The kind that don't sit on the shelf like Elf on the Shelf, but crawl into your bed and sit on your chest in the middle of the night kind of dolls. I mean, I'm pretty sure Annabelle did that to somebody. And
Jeez,
Robert the doll.
Kay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
As she mentioned, these dolls have names, they have histories, and some people believe they're watching you even now.
Especially Robert the doll.
And Miss Peggy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the internet infamous and spooky is all get out kind of doll.
Yeah, Shay is
Have you heard of her?
covering Peggy the doll. I don't think she's as well known as the other two, so I'm curious if our audience members are going to be interested in Peggy.
Listen.
Zach Bagans owns her. His haunted museum, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about that when we get to her.
I'm going to cover Robert the doll. I think Robert is super interesting, and he's super cursed, and he's super, like, petty and salty. Like, all respect, Robert. I'm scared now. I just said that. He's just like, if you don't respect him, you'll see what happens to you. So get ready.
I mean, that is what Child's Play is based off of, right?
Right, yeah.
And I'll be finishing us off with Annabelle, the demon doll, who's basically paranormal activity. I feel like Annabelle is probably the most well-known.
And she's touring the country right now, guys. So you
she's
can just go
touring the
up to her,
country.
give her a high five.
I would
actually
also
terrifying,
like
right?
to clear the air. She was not missing for 2 days.
Oh, yeah, that was a big rumor, right?
Yeah, that was
Also, she did maybe burn down that plantation.
maybe.
The fact that she was in New Orleans and that plantation burnt to the ground, so interesting.
Yep.
Like coincidence? Sure, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Who believes in coincidences these days?
He was a quadink-dink.
Let's get haunted.
Little ball.
Peggy doll laughing. All right, Shay, start us off with Miss Peggy Weggy.
All right. Buckle up, y'all, because today we're diving into this unsettling world of haunted dolls. And I'm kicking things off with one of the creepiest contenders out there. And I am not joking. This girl is spooky.
And big. All these dolls are huge, too.
Yeah.
They're all huge.
All big for no reason. Like, calm down.
But I get it. You know when you were little and you saw that like life-size Barbie one? You remember those Barbie dolls that were like...
Yes.
I was like, I want that.
I had one.
Bruh.
It scared the shit out of me.
Why'd you have one? Of course you freaking had one, Lou. Out of all of us, my sister had
I had one too.
My sister had a China doll room. Like that was her theme.
No.
And I'm like, why? Because
No.
so like you would go into her room and she would have like shelves of the China dolls. She had one that was swinging and it was like bolted into the ceiling.
Swinging?
Yeah, it was on a swing and it was bolted into the ceiling. So when you were sleeping in her room, like sometimes you look over and the air conditioning would just make this
No.
swing.
Stop.
Right. This makes no sense for my sister. You know her. She's like the
actually
most
crazy.
scared person ever. She cannot watch a scary trailer for a movie without having nightmares for months.
I would die.
Granted, she kind of grew up with a lot of stuff you guys know from our past ghost stories with all the ghosts she saw. So it makes sense.
True.
Anyways,
That's actually terrifying.
Peggy looks like a glass doll to me. Like she is more baby doll-y, but she's got that kind of porcelain. It's porcelain doll. That's what it's called.
Yeah, she looks like a porcelain doll, but she's not actually. She's a plastic doll, which is kind of crazy. And she's also not even vintage, which you'd think that she would be.
Right.
But she's not.
And then there's Annabelle.
No. But Robert is the oldest, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's like, what, almost 100 years old?
I think so. 1900s. Yeah.
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 All right. So let's talk about Peggy. All right. Now, Peggy's not your typical creepy doll. She's not buried in some attic or locked in an abandoned toy chest. No, she's been very active in the 21st century. And what makes her truly terrifying is that people say you don't even have to be in the same room as her to feel her effects. Let me take you back to 2015. That's when Jane Harris, a British paranormal investigator, first received Peggy. She runs an organization called Haunted Dolls, basically the Build-A-Bear workshop of cursed objects. The previous owner claimed that the doll was at the center of intense activity. So nightmares, depression, and even health issues that seemed to vanish once the doll was removed. Now, Jane didn't take that lightly, so she began posting Peggy's photo and videos online. And that's when chaos really began.
Yeah, first mistake knowing this doll.
People around the world started sending Jane messages saying that they'd experienced headaches, nausea, chest tightness, or that their electronics had gone haywire after just seeing Peggy's image. Some reported having visions or dreams of an older woman warning them to stay away. One person even claimed to have suffered a heart attack shortly after watching a video of her.
Wow.
So, who or what is Peggy? Psychics who've tuned into her energy say she may be inhabited by the spirit of a woman who died tragically, possibly during the Holocaust. Others sense that the entity...
I said, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
'Cause that kind of...
Exactly.
That
Think about
energy.
that. Yeah. Others sense, though, that this entity attached to her is much darker, something parasitic or malevolent.
Demon.
Jane Harris ended up housing Peggy in a specially blessed sealed enclosure, and she cleansed the area around the doll regularly, like she was babysitting a ticking spiritual time bomb. Now, eventually, the story got the attention of none other than Zach Bagans. Yes, that Zach Bagans of Ghost Adventures.
What is it saying? There are things in this world we can't understand. Stand. We want answers. Okay. I was obsessed with that show. But then I found like other people I like much more. And I was like, this guy is
Actually a little bit dramatic. I
But
don't know how he
I do
always
wanna
gets
go-
possessed every episode, but anyway.
I know. I'll be like, oh, I feel like there's something touching me. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm dying. But I really do want to go to his museum.
I know. That is literally on our
Yes.
bucket list. Like, we have to go.
Las Vegas.
Yes. That's honestly the only thing you need to see in Vegas. You don't need to see anything else. But, all right. So, speaking of, though, he actually featured Peggy on his show Deadly Possessions and later brought her to his haunted museum in Las Vegas. And that is where she now currently resides. If you want to visit her, you can, but be warned because there is a waiver involved usually. Because apparently, even behind glass, Peggy doesn't play. So
Scary.
here's the real question. Is Peggy haunted, or are we just so primed to believe in haunted dolls that our minds make it real? Is it spirit or suggestion? You decide. But maybe don't stare too long at her photo before bed. You know, just in case.
Yeah, that is one thing about Peggy that if you are looking her up, be pre-warned as this is our, what is it called, content warner.
Yeah.
That it is believed that if you look at her eyes, that's when the bad stuff happens. So a lot of times, like when you watch Ghost Hunters or they did, Sam and Colby did one.
Yes.
They always blank out her eyes and then they give you a warning about it's about to happen. So then it's your choice.
And it's a fair warning.
Yeah. It's like if you would like to look at her. Same thing with Robert.
Yeah.
Because Robert is similar. I don't know much about Annabelle other than, she's creepy AF. But
yeah. I'm excited to hear like the
more of her
stories of
lore.
Annabelle.
Yeah.
I want to name too. I watched the Sam and Colby special where they featured all three of the dolls. And out of all of the dolls as I was watching, the one that felt the scariest to me was Peggy. And I don't know why. Even in the investigation they did, it didn't seem... it did seem like kind of malevolent. It was talking about a different doll's name, but that doll was like on the floor and it was like looking at Peggy and it was actually super scary. But I don't know. If you do end up looking at a photo or video of Peggy, girl, watch out for those eyes because they will, absorb you. Like I 100%. Okay. Full disclosure. I was not making a very smart choice while I was watching this video. I was playing with my dolls.
Oh my gosh, she told us this and I was like, Shay, no.
Yeah.
Bad.
Okay.
Save it for the podcast. No,
I know. Listen, y'all. I am obsessed. I collect American Girl dolls. Okay. Now, I find these dolls to be very cute and lovable. However, while I was watching this video, I am not joking. I swear a piece of Peggy's soul just flopped out of my TV screen and just went into. And if you are into American Girl and you know what Felicity looks like, she's got these lizard green eyes. I swear something was happening to this doll as I was playing with her, dressing her up while I was watching this video. I was scared. So anyway, now I have an extra eye out on my Felicity doll.
You might just want to put a little bit of some crystals next to her tonight.
She's sitting right next to the crystals. I'm like,
maybe do some of the protection spray.
Yeah, I'm just gonna spray her a couple times. Like, girl.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, we talk about how, like, what is an evil spirit? Is it a demon? Like, do we actually believe that exists, or is it just really dark energy that repeats, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have a hard time believing, and maybe something gets so dark that it calls itself demon.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, demons are out throughout history.
Yeah, well, and that's what I have. That's my hardest thing with, like, watching The Conjuring, because I love the Conjuring movies, and obviously they're based loosely on stories and everything, and even talking about Annabelle. But, like, I don't know, with how we talk, like, I don't know that I believe in demons necessarily.
Yeah.
But I
Right.
also know, like, I don't want to take away from someone's experience and saying
something is dark.
Exactly. And I don't know, I still stand behind that our fear is so powerful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it can feed into whatever, because there has to be an energy that's tied to all of those things, right?
Right.
And then think about how many hands they've been through, and then the fear that's perpetrated through it. And so it's all just like building up, and then it gets in this right circumstance with this right family, with kids or whatever, and scary shit happens because it's all of that fear that's built up.
Right. Because people can be impressionable. And I believe that fear controls the mind, but the mind is, I mean, there's no limit. There really is no limit.
Well, and we think about how we get rid of them, or how we keep them safe, or how we keep ourselves safe. We put them in a box. We bless it. We bring in someone that we think is
Has
powerful.
power, yeah.
And because we think there's power behind it.
But it's because
then
we
the
give them that clearance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just think it's so interesting.
But I get the idea of how it being like something so ancient. You know, the idea of darkness and demon has been used forever.
Yes,
It's not just like
exactly.
Christianity.
Exactly.
There's always these dark things, and like we've talked about, I think it's just that soul that just decides to sit in that darkness, or something that you know, lifetime is so dark that it leaves behind that, like, ugh. So like maybe someone that owns this doll, like maybe it is possessed by something like from the Holocaust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that darkness.
I mean, exactly. Like, I think about in so many interpretations of the afterlife, people talking about ghosts and them being just spirits that can't move on. Well, if these are spirits that are so ingrained in this fear, and this fear is that powerful, I think it 100% could keep them stuck in whatever space or body
Like
that it might inhabit.
Like demon possessions too, like a physical person being like, that has to be somewhat true.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I know,
there's
but
not all
it's-
these,
it's so
or is it
hard
mental
for
health?
me.
Right.
Right. Well, it's so
Yeah.
hard for me to wrap my brain around, because like with all that we've been through, like coming out of the church and everything, it's just, I don't know. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around that something like that can still be true and happen, but it doesn't necessarily have to be Christianity. Right.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it could be a demon, because that's what Christianity calls it.
Exactly.
What is that?
Yeah, I mean, think about, there's so many ancient tales of, I don't know, like the fae, the whatever, and like all of those things come from things that people have seen, and it's trying to explain or whatever. So I don't know.
Well, I
it's
think
just-
what we love about Aaron Mankey is the lore aspect of things, is that lore always comes from something that is true.
Right.
Something happened. It's just like when you read a label and it's like, don't, you know, lick this. And you're like, why would anyone have licked this? And you're like, because someone licked
it at some
and so
point.
they have to put a warning on it not
Right.
to lick it. You know,
Right.
like the warnings
Yes.
are that. And so
Yes.
it's like that kind of, that concept.
Yeah.
Lore comes from something that is true.
Something that someone learned centuries, years, or whatever ago. But
Or the consciousness also that carries throughout history of people seeing things. Like I think we should do another one of these about like certain creatures like vampires and zombies, like
or the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, these things that like have so much.
Chupacabra.
Yes, you know, it has ties to something, right?
Yep, absolutely. All right, so that's Peggy, y'all.
Peggy.
If you want to know more about her, have fun. I'm going to stay very far away from her, though. Let's move on. Who we got next?
Robert, that's me. So
You're Robert? Hi, Robert.
hi, Robert. Hi, it's me, Robert.
Wow.
I'm a little sailor. Popeye the Sailor Man. Okay. Anyways, so Robert is really, really fun. Not really fun. He's actually terrifying. I don't know why I said really, really fun. I've watched a lot of stuff about him. Aaron Mankey, like we just talked about, he has a great episode about him, and I've listened to it a couple times. Watched several investigators go see Robert. Sam and Kobe have gone twice. They have one whole episode where they're there. And so I know a lot about him, but I like dove in and kind of got more. Let me tell you the history of Mr. Robert. So he is from Key West, Florida, and he was made in the early 1900s. Robert was a doll gifted to a young boy named Robert Eugene Otto, and he was known as Gene, and he named his doll Robert after himself. The doll was reportedly made by the company that made the original teddy bear, which I find kind of cool. But the doll was believed not to be meant for a toy. It was actually meant to be like a mannequin or a display figure. So it was actually never meant to be like played with.
That honestly makes sense with like looking at what Robert the doll looks like. Like he looks, and he kind of also reminds me of a teddy bear too.
Yeah, well, he has he's built with a little little dog.
Yeah, with the Okay.
So he is about 40 inches tall, which is terrifying. I hate that word, 40 inches and doll together. And he is stuffed with wood wool, and he's dressed as a sailor, and he has a puppy, like we just said. So a little bit about Gene and Robert's relationship. Gene became obsessed with this doll, which I always find interesting. Like kids that get obsessed with something, like maybe he was really shy, right? Or he didn't have friends, and something about this boy and this doll connected, and whatever thing that lives in Robert probably knew. Like he found the perfect person, because Gene is like, he's pretty messed up with his doll. So Gene spoke to Robert all the time, and reportedly the doll spoke back. Neighbors claimed they would see the doll moving from window to window when the family was away. Gene's parents heard giggling and footsteps. They heard the furniture moving when Gene wasn't up in his room. And Gene would, sometimes when he would get in trouble, he would look at his parents and say, "I didn't do it, Robert did." Like he blamed the doll all the time, and his parents never believed him, obviously. Like you're like, no, the doll didn't break this. The doll didn't steal this. The doll didn't do this. And he was adamant. He's like, no, Robert did it. So I always find that interesting. Like, I'm always like, I should just believe my kid if they repetitively tell me something is messed up. Yeah. Right? I hope nothing ever happens to my kids, or I will be like, we're moving from this house and burning that doll.
I'm going to say that you have the authority over your space.
That's true.
To not let anything like that happen.
Yeah.
Period.
Or I always feel like when my son ever says something, like one time we actually have it on video because we have a camera in his room, and he looked out his bed, and the terror on his face. Remember, I think I sent this to you guys. Did I send it to you? Mm-mm. He literally started screaming as he was looking at something. And I come in and I'm like, what? And he goes, it's there. And there was something in his room. I'll have to pull it up and show you guys. Like we turn on the lights, we cleansed the room, we stood where the darkness was, and we told him he's a light me. We made him stand up and manifest the light in his room, because I was like, he saw something. And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a kind spirit, but it just
it freaked him out.
It freaked him out because I think he's always been surrounded by something, or maybe it was like a guardian angel, whatever.
Yeah.
Guardian angel and like a spirit guide. We still call them guardian angels, but anyways, I'll have to show you that. All right, back to the doll. So the Otto family began experiencing strange occurrences, and this is when the hauntings really ramped up. The objects would move on their own. They would hear disembodied laughter. Robert would appear in places that he wasn't left, which I hate about dolls. Do not move. I get footsteps.
Stay
first of all,
but when it's somewhere else.
Yeah, no.
Like you go upstairs and you hear footsteps, but then the doll's just sitting there. But if you go upstairs and like it's not where you left it, absolutely not.
Throw it out. Burn it.
Punt it. Anyways, so the servants and guests felt uneasy too. Some reported like quitting after having encounters with the doll. Like they could not keep staff because the doll. Some legends say the doll was cursed, and some believe that it was cursed by a servant who was voodoo skilled. So it was this caretakers of his that they blamed the doll maybe being possessed. Like she possessed it, but I don't like that one.
It's giving Salem.
But later it's like it was debated that lore was tacked on, right? You know what I mean? That's where the research lies. Like it's like this
good.
was so. But if you hear a lot about Robert, that is brought up quite a lot about the voodoo. So this is the part of the story when you're like, okay, he grew up, he moved on, the doll left him. Well, that's not the case for Robert. Gene kept the doll. He actually moved back into his childhood home, and it's now known as the artist house. He became a painter. He was an artist, and he bought the house. He moved in, and he kept Robert with him. He had a chair at the table. He sat at the window. His wife hated the doll. Can you imagine?
He got married?
He got married, and the doll would like sit
Was
at
the best man. I'm just
seriously, the doll would sit at the end of the
respectful.
Like he had like a chair that he would sit at during like while they slept, and she always was like he just stared at her. So Gene's wife hated the doll, and she like grew like deeply disturbed by it. I think that story is so interesting about him and his wife, like the concept of like being with someone that
I know
has that kind of attachment,
right?
But it's like not like it's a physical attachment because it's like a doll, right? Yuck.
I mean, I have a blanket.
I think that's different.
Okay. I mean,
is there a demon possessed?
I have like 21 dolls, but I don't sleep with them, and I don't give them a spot at the table.
Right. Like he talks to it.
I don't talk to the dolls. Yeah. Okay.
So Gene died in 1974, and then there were new owners to the house, and they found Robert and had similar eerie activity. So he was just in the like attic. Robert was eventually donated to the Fort East Marlowe Museum in Key West, where he remains today. So that's where he sits today. You can go visit him. He's in Key West. Staff members report that there's always electric malfunctions near Robert. Cameras will stop working. Photos will come out blurry, and a bunch of other anomalies. Visitors often feel watched, dizzy, or unnerved, like they don't like it. And so here's where Robert is scary today. The fact that legends of his permission to take his photo is mostly known about Robert. So Robert is notoriously petty, like I said. Visitors must ask permission before they take his photo. If you don't, bad luck follows you. Accidents, illness, job loss, divorces. The museum reportedly receives hundreds and hundreds of apology letters to Robert, pleading Robert to lift the curse from them. They have him around his like showcase of all these letters that people wrote. Some guests leave offerings, candies, coins, letters to like appreciate to him, which I feel like a bunch of like people do that to dolls. They like leave offerings.
Yep.
So a few fun facts about Robert. Robert was inspired by the movie Chucky, like Shay said.
Child's Play.
He's also has his own social media page, so you can send him fan mail. And staff say they often like shift his expression to like be looking away at night, and he's always facing back the other way when they come back in. Like he moves all the time.
Is it not like a bad thing to touch him?
I think because they work with him. Like when you watch the people that work with him, they're very comfortable with him. It's kind of like when we talked about the guy who owns the Ouija boards. I think because they're so curious of the doll and like respectful, I think he knows them and respects them. I don't know.
Interesting.
His most active month is October, which I find is funny. I think he just like, you guys all scared? Okay.
Well, Bale is also thin too, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Talking about Sam and Colby, I find it interesting about Robert is that they did an episode with Robert, and then they left. Colby found out later that year that he actually had cancer, and he did chemo and everything, and he is cancer free, which is awesome. But this concept laid heavy on the fans of them and on him himself.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I don't necessarily want to say that he gave me cancer because I don't want it to give it that power.
Right.
You know, like he leaned more into that. But when they came back to do the 3 doll thing, he was very animate about apologizing to Robert.
Yeah.
And he left him a note and everything because he's like, if anything, I want to come back here and be respectful.
Yeah.
Like, did you do this to me? I'm not saying you did.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you didn't. I'm just going to come and be like, yo, I'm sorry. Which, if you watch that episode, the fact that Sam is like behind the scenes taking photos of all of them to like bring them all to Annabelle.
I have so many things I need to talk to you about because that are not related to this podcast episode that have everything to do with that episode because anyway, sorry.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it later.
The other thing too, though, is that when Colby is talking to the owners of the museum and he's like saying like, do you guys think that Robert the doll gave me cancer? They all like look at him and they're resounding. Yes. You did. Like, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
You disrespected Robert the doll and this is what he did to you. And I was like,
damn.
dang.
Yeah. Robert, also, if you look at the pictures of Robert, he's not cute. Okay, he is kind of creepy and he's old.
Yeah.
And he's
like gray now.
yeah, and he's like stitched up. His face is like
Really. Don't
like
let's
Peggy's creepy and Annabelle's creepy, but they're also like dolls.
right.
Robert's like, I don't know.
Robert is Robert, and I don't want to say anything disrespectful because
Yes.
I don't want cancer.
Oh, yes. Well, Robert, anyways, let me just say this. Whether he's cursed or possessed or just a creepy roommate, Robert the doll has earned the reputation as one of the most haunted objects in America. And if you're listening, Robert, well, we ask you nicely that you allow us to talk about you in this podcast. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, bye.
You,
Okay.
If you go visit him, make sure that you say hello and goodbye.
Yes, hello
Like-
and goodbye. And ask to take his photo. Don't just take it and be stupid and be a dick because
Yes.
Yeah, don't taunt him.
All right, witches. We met Peggy. We've tiptoed around Robert, but now it's time for the one,
the queen bee.
the queen bee, the mother, the menace, Annabelle. So let's get this out of the way. First of all, I'm not talking about the creepy porcelain girl boss from the Conjuring movies.
Girl, that doll is creepy AF.
Yes, V creepy. The real Annabelle, however, is a floppy ass Raggedy Ann doll.
But that's
Soft.
3 feet tall.
Yeah, soft.
Why?
Button-eyed, looks like she should be smelling of crayons in childhood. And yet, here we are.
You smell like crayons.
You smell like beef and cheese and you sit on a throne of flies. Name that movie. I think I said it wrong.
Talladega Nights.
No, it's Elf.
Good
Oh.
job. Okay, let's rewind. Let's rewind back to the 70s.
Hey, at least it was both Will Ferrell.
Yeah, there you go.
I was in the right ballpark.
You're like,
you were.
that actor would probably say something like that.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's rewind back to the 70s. Annabelle was gifted to a nursing student named Donna by her mom. A sweet, thrifted little gift, except this little Cuddy Buddy was like, actually a portal to hell. Thanks. Donna and her.
Thanks, girl.
Also, witches, this is very important to note, when you thrift creepy ass things from the thrift store, cleanse it.
Cleanse
Cleanse
it. Please don't just put it in your house
Say it
and
with
call
me
it
again.
a day.
We cleanse
Cleanse
it.
it.
I actually freaked out the other day because I have a gallery wall and I was like laying in bed and I was like, I woke up and I was like, shit, I forgot to cleanse that new thing. And I did it.
Good job.
At 3 a.m.
I'm like running around. I love those TikToks of like when you're married to a witch and she's like out in the woods and at 3 a.m. running around with like.
That's hilarious.
Oh my God, I love it. Okay.
That's us.
So Donna and her roommates noticed the doll was moving. Literally, they'd leave the room and come back to find Annabelle in different spots.
No.
Her arms crossed.
Throw it away.
Legs splayed, doors
Girl.
opening, notes appearing on parchment paper. Parchment paper that no one in the apartment owned. That's not
That's
even the
terrifying.
weirdest part. The note said, "Help us," and "Help Lou." Who's Lou?
You.
No
Oh
one
my
knew.
gosh.
Not
You're
me.
connected.
I hope. Not me.
Oh my God.
And then came the red liquid. Yes.
Ew.
Excuse
Real
me?
dripping stuff on the doll's chest and hands.
I
At
didn't know about this.
At this point,
Oh,
we'd all
yeah.
be yeeting the doll into the sun. But Donna was like, let's ask a medium. So the medium says, oh, it's just a little girl named Annabelle Higgins. She died really tragically and she just wants love. So, of course, Donna, being Donna, was like, yeah, she can stay. And we're all sitting here collectively thinking, no, mistakes.
If it is bleeding blood.
If it moves, no. Okay.
Seriously.
So this is when things start to get really escalated. Donna's friend Lou, again, not me, but what if, right? Started having terrifying dreams of the doll choking him in his sleep. Then he woke up with claw marks, not scratches, full-on demonic Wolverine action. So Donna finally calls in the big guns, Ed and Lorraine Warren, the OG Ghostbusters and High Collars and Catholic Guilt. They come in, took one look, and were like, yeah, that's not a child. That's a demon. You gave it permission to enter. That's how this all works. And just like that, they packed up Annabelle, sprinkled her with some holy water, and drove off with her. But, this is crazy, the car ride was a nightmare. The brakes failed, the steering locked, and the Warrens were like, shoot. And they sprinkled her with more holy water, calms down, and then they get her home. So
holy
now,
water, interesting concept, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Imbued
now,
with the same power as we do moon water.
That's true. That is true.
so then she lived in the Warrens' house. They had a museum and a locked case, and it was their occult museum in Connecticut with a little sign that said, positively do not open. And guess what? People still tried to test her. One guy banged on the case, mocking her. He died in a motorcycle crash on the way home.
I heard that is not true.
Oh.
Really?
I know that's something that's around her a lot, but one creator I was watching is saying that that's actually not factually proven.
Ooh.
It's just something,
something
that the
that's around her.
investigators say.
Which, that's very interesting. Okay, I want to fact check that.
Okay. Yeah.
Lorraine also always said that she was the most dangerous item in the collection. We've talked about multiple times how we're watching the Conjuring movies in chronological order to get ready for this new movie coming out. So since this new movie is coming out, we think all the Annabelle dramas going on is done, everything. No, she's on tour right now. Because why not? When we're creating a new movie of a franchise and of a haunted doll.
I just want to know who gave the authority to say,
I think it's her
yes,
grandson who
this
owns
is
her
a
now.
good idea. The grandson of who?
Of
Ed
Ed and
Lorraine.
Lorraine. He owns her.
So she's been on tour. She's been to haunted prisons, inns, and even made a stop in New Orleans. Right after she arrived there, 10 prisoners escaped from jail and a
Yes.
historic building burned down. Twitter lost its mind and people
Not
were
a
like,
historical
she's
building.
real. You shouldn't have moved her. Anyways, even TikTok got on it. People swore Annabelle was missing mid-tour. There was conspiracies, like the haunted Where's Waldo situation. Eventually, the team behind the tour was like, she's fine. She's in her case. Everyone calm down.
She's in her cage.
So real or not, cursed or clout chasing, one thing is clear. Annabelle is the most famous haunted doll for a reason. She's soft. She's sinister. She's the embodiment of don't judge a book by its cover. And if she ever shows up in my house, I'm lighting sage, holy water, and a match all at once.
And
She light the holy water.
Yeah, you're gonna light the holy water.
It has alcohol in it. It's fine.
They take it seriously too. Going back to how we manifest into something. Like when you go into the museum, you are escorted by a priest. They have a priest on site who is there
Ready to cleanse
who
you.
cleanses the space before you go in, cleanses you when you exit. It is what?
Feels dramatic.
Yeah,
But
I mean, when I definitely look at her, I know that there's something not so. She's not a
so
child.
good.
Yeah.
But
And-
she got a lot of clout too, which
Yeah.
means there's a lot of people sending her energy.
Right. And especially because of the movies.
Exactly.
The move, this a tour or whatever. If we look at any one of our friends who doesn't like scary movies and we say, you know what Annabelle is? They go, yeah. You go, do you know what Robert the Doll is? Maybe no. Everybody knows who Annabelle is.
Well, it's
you
also,
know her
okay,
Right.
name.
Okay, this is, I don't know if this is it's not the exact same thing, but okay. So, when you're looking for things, you're going to find it. So if we're expecting bad things to happen around Annabelle, obviously it's going to happen. When you
Right.
when you start driving a new car and you think you're going to buy a new car and you're like, oh, I really want a Ford Edge. That's what I have. Whatever.
And then you see it everywhere.
You see it literally everywhere. I never saw that car before in my entire life, but now that I'm looking for it, I see it everywhere on the road. And so I don't know. I think that has something to do with it too. It's especially with the cloud and not that she isn't
Right.
all of that, because I totally believe that. But I also think there's so much energy being fed into that makes it all the more powerful.
And to shout out that for Annabelle Creations, which we've watched. We haven't gotten to the next one. That was a good movie.
It was good.
It
was scary.
one is terrifying. Two, how they represented the idea that a lot of times children's spirits in haunted locations typically end up being considered something demonic. They are something or evil, like being in a child's toy or in a child's, right? A little girl, Sally house, right? There's a bunch.
Because it's disarming.
Right. You don't,
'Cause it's a kid.
it's like acting like a kid, but honestly, it's something else. So, like, the idea in the movie, it possesses a little girl, and there's a scene that she backs up, and all of a sudden, it is like to the ceiling, bent over, dark energy demon thing. And you're like, oh my gosh, what a great visualization of.
Yes.
You think it's innocent, but if it really unzipped its skin,
Oh, that was good. I didn't like it, but it was good.
you would see that. Ugh, crawling out. No, thank you.
So
Dolls.
I think we're all that's the tea on all of the dolls that we have.
I will never own a doll.
Yeah. So we want to say, don't
I own
invite
21.
spirits. Shay's enough for all of us. It's good.
Shays are blessed.
I will say though, I never felt right about porcelain dolls.
Porcelain dolls. They're
Them's
nice.
is
When you walk into a thrift store and there's a porcelain doll, you know that thing is possessed.
I'm letting you know right now. My mom has many porcelain dolls.
She,
and
of
they are
course, she
all-
does.
She
course
lives
she
in
does.
yeah.
I know
Anyway.
some people really love them.
Like your mom, also, Lou. I would expect to have
Yeah,
porcelain dolls.
I mean,
I remember being gifted porcelain dolls
Yes.
for Christmas.
Yeah, I had a
Yes.
few.
You know where they went? In the
trash.
closet.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
The closet with my
in
Furby.
the closet first, and then they went in the trash later on. You know,
Y'all, my Furby did talk in my closet.
Yes. Oh my
Those
gosh.
things would definitely possess from the manufacturer.
Okay, my cousin had
straight
one of
up,
those.
they just sent them out.
They
with
literally
demons
just-
preloaded.
Right there, just like voodooed, or not voodooed,
know.
but did something over all
Whole
these
batch
stuff.
of Furbies.
Oh my gosh. Okay, do you guys remember the baby newborns?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, my cousin had one, and I ripped the batteries out of
it
it and
talks to
threw it into my closet.
Why?
And it's because it was crying at all hours of the night.
Did it cry again?
Yes. Hated it.
My sister's doll did that. I remember, like, I was such a scared little kid. I watch scary movies now, but as a kid, I was so sensitive that like anything scared me. So I spent majority of my like little years in one of my siblings' rooms. And I always I set up a bed in my younger sister's room because I was like, no, I'm not sleeping across the hall. And her doll started talking in the middle of the night, and I was like, I moved in here for safety. Why are you talking right now?
Okay, so I think the lesson we've learned is we don't invite spirits to stay. We
Yes.
don't taunt haunted dolls.
Nope.
And for the love of all that is good and holy, if it's moving on its own, that's not quirky. It's not cute.
It's not
It's
demure.
demonic. It's not demure.
Get out.
It's demonic, and you need to burn it or call your local witch.
Yeah. We're the
but not us.
yeah, we don't know how to
Oh,
well, we could try. If you need us, we're there. You
do our
call
best.
Spell for that.
when you need. What is that Gilmore song? Well, it's not Gilmore Girls, but it's
That's reminding me of Vasa talking to Farah. Can you remove this curse?
oh yeah.
nah, girl.
I could try. I could try.
Maybe if I just sprinkle you and then do a little dance.
Perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, because I do people do, take out evil things. Like a lot of people who aren't Christian believe in spiritual. Who is that one lady that Sam and Kobe have? Who's she's a priestess, and she helps remove bad things all the time. So it's not just Christianity. I know you go in there and you're like, okay, we're going to be bigger than this.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's interesting for us specifically with where we are. We're always on Christianity because that's our biggest I mean, America, that's our religion, whatever. But I like in other countries, I wonder,
Yeah.
like how do they
I
deal
think
with
a lot of other
possessions
cultures, like what we do to Satan.
Yeah.
What we did to Satan. We don't put we on that anymore. What we do to Satan and demons, like when we see something evil, feel something evil, we blame that.
Yeah.
And I think other religions
Yeah,
do the same
absolutely.
thing. They just have different names.
He cheated on her. That was Satan tempting him.
Satan.
And he fell
You're a
for
woman.
that temptation.
Women are the biggest thing in Christianity that Satan
Women
uses.
are demons.
Yeah, we seduce the men.
Sirens.
I want to be a siren.
That'd
Honestly.
be dope. Did you watch that show on Netflix?
No.
It just came out. It's called Sirens. It was weird. I don't
Oh.
know. I liked it, but I also didn't. I don't know.
Do you guys ever watch Sinbad?
Yes, I
I've met
fucking
Sinbad.
love that
You
movie.
met Sinbad. Have you seen
I am
the DreamWorks
Sinbad.
movie Sinbad?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I want to be that
Shay.
girl for Christmas.
You want to be
She's-
a girl for Christmas?
No, this girl from
that girl.
Sinbad.
What is her
Listen,
name?
Grayson loves Sinbad. We watch it all the time, and there's this whole scene when the sirens are all right.
Yes.
She sneaks onto the ship, so it's all men, and she's the only woman, and they're all like going to their deaths, like trying to jump in the water, and she's like tying them off
It's
on
so
the
great.
ship, like one by one, grabbing them and tying them to the ship because they're all trying to like kill themselves into the water, and she's this badass woman that's like, not today, not
and
today.
it's also so funny. She's like, ugh, men.
Men. Listen, this is why we love the books we read today, because we grew up on shit like that.
True.
True. Anyway, witches, I think that is it about our dolls. If you have any questions or you have anything to add about the dolls, something
Or if
you
you know of any haunted dolls that we didn't cover
or
today.
if you own a haunted doll,
Oh, yes.
If you are, no, just kidding.
if you are a doll listening right now. No.
Tell us your
no.
experience.
No. Okay, well, we're going to pull from our tarot decks, and then this is goodbye for now.
We should also pull an oracle card.
Ooh, yes.
Since, horror movies are being referenced.
So I decided to pull from our Oracle deck. I bought this Oracle deck in Salem, Massachusetts. So it's charged with all that juju. And is juju a correct word to use? And
Sorry. Please don't cancel us. If
juju.
it's wrong.
Whenever I think of juju, I think of Princess and the Frog and how her snake's named Juju.
Oh.
Okay, so it's a horror
Horror
horror.
oracle.
It's a horror Oracle deck.
I said that with some sort of accent. I don't know what it is.
It's a horror oracle deck. So each of the cards is a horror movie with then a word on it that you can go look up in a little booklet that gives you more in depth to what the card means. Unlike tarot decks, oracle decks are unique. Each of them are different. So this one is different than any other oracle deck. So anyways, I pulled the Forbidden card, which has the movie The Candyman on it. I've never seen The Candyman, but you chant The Candyman in the mirror. He's one of those guys. So I don't fuck with that because
It's giving haunted doll.
Bloody Mary. I will never do that. I
Bro,
will
that
never.
scared me so
No.
I will
I'm
never do
terrified
that.
of Bloody Mary.
I cannot
Same.
stand in a bathroom in the dark.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to tell you guys my
Oh
terrifying.
my God, there's a head again.
Oh my God, Shay.
Look, doesn't it look like it right there?
No, Shay sees so many scary things. Okay, I
the
literally
window
was
behind
just
Kay.
talking about standing in the dark. My soul left my body when you just said that. Because, guys, to give you context, my back is like towards the thing they're talking about. They both are looking in that direction.
I know. We have our backs against the wall in case like her back is against a window and the window's open.
Yes. Okay, so, anyways, I got it upright. And what upright means for the Candyman is proceed with caution.
Period.
Period. That's so cool. And then it has a bunch about the movie, which is really fun and like information, but that is what this card means.
Yeah. Okay. So then from our apothecary deck, I pulled frankincense.
Frankenstein.
So practical, it kills bacteria and fungi, used for aging skin, good for healing wounds, aids arthritis, asthma, diabetes, and strokes. Magical properties, burn to cleanse a sacred place. Mixed with
That's good.
other herbs to boost their effectiveness. Useful for meditation and good fortune.
Yeah, so you need that when you go see these dolls.
And for our mineralogy deck, we pulled carnelian, which is one that we've actually pulled before on the podcast. It controls your sacral root and solar plexus chakras, and it helps with joy, protection, energy, easing depression, promoting self-confidence, peace, concentration, focus, action, sexuality, lust, healing, and courage. So if you have a haunted doll in your life, now is the time to get rid of it.
Get your frankincense.
Proceed with caution, though, okay?
With caution.
Get
You
some
have been
frankincense.
warned by my oracle deck. It says no.
No.
Don't
It says
do it.
Nar.
Nar. Yeah, you know if we, because I actually would like to go see these dolls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm curious, but you know I'm taking a bath in protection stuff before and after. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe that's giving it power, but I don't know.
All right. Thanks for haunting with us today. Be sure to follow Hex and Chill wherever you get your podcasts and leave a review. Or we'll send a doll to your doorstep. Kidding. Probably.
Probably.
And just so you guys know, our circle has been open and lit this whole time, protecting us. So close that circle, and the light in me sees the light in you. Love you.
Bye, witchlings. Jeez, Kay. These dolls have names just like...
it with you. So
Jeez, can't we all say it together?
Jeez.
Jeez,
Willikers.
Kay.
Sorry.
That works.